So let's go look on terrain editors and terrains inside the dv11. On our left bar, you notice we have it look like a mountain icon. This is terrains. Triangle represent if we right click. We have the expanded menu so we can pre-select some other options. First is going standard terrain. Next is procedural fractal driven terrain and visual browser for procedural terrains preset. Where we're going right now look, it is on a standard terrain. Let's select it and enable. Right here we have our terrain. The difference between standard and procedural terrain, the standard terrain will created by the random seed on a beginning, and it's kind of almost fixed at that point terrain. So to modify, we need to go inside terrain editor and apply some modifiers to change, say, shape. If we take our camera and bring very close to the terrain, the resolution does not change for this terrain, as the shape is also doesn't change. Procedural terrain will actually modify itself and increase resolution or decrease depending how close or far away camera is. Use of this, if you think you will create a still image and you have to put it your camera away and you think this is about good resolution for you, so I would recommend use it standard because you won't modify. If you're not sure and you may become closer or modified, you want to use procedural terrain. As well, because procedural terrain is function driven, you can achieve a lot of different animation effects, maybe like meteor crashing in earth or some other effect. So maybe in some cases you still want to use it procedural terrain. In this tutorial, we'll look overview the standard terrain options. To modify it and access the terrain editor, we need select terrain that we're going to modify, right click and go to edit object. We can access same options from the object edit or right click on terrain and select edit. So right here we have it our terrain. One thing you will notice right in the middle we have it kind of cut through, and it's because special custom filter is applied. We'll look on this in a second. So what we have it so far, let's look on our left bar, this action bar. First we have it reset, so we can reset our terrain all the way. Next, you notice we have it options that disable. Currently it's other type of reset. When we reset 3D sculpting only, reset 2D sculpting only, reset material painting only. With the view and materials, we can paint also materials over our terrains. Next, we have zero edges, and this is important, for example, when we go create terrain, and for example, if I go closer to the edge, like right here, for example, I don't want this cut off, it will look ugly, so I can create zero edges, and it will automatically bring them down and make smooth edge. The next, we have a different type of terrains that we can create it. From the mountains, peaks, eroded, canyons, mounds, dunes, icebergs, and a lunar or moon surface. We also have it on the bottom pictures. On this case, we can draw the kind of adjust shape of the terrain based on an image or a DM information passing from another application. Also, we have it configurations and another disable options. We want to back to height field to optimize and fast making render. So let's look first on some options that we can create presets. Some of those presets, for example, like lunar, it won't be available in procedures, but some other will. So let's create by clicking first the mount. This is standard. You can see we create mountain look. The next is the peaks. If we open, you will notice one thing, that peaks or other ones, they're stackable effects. So if you can create first terrain, and for example right here I'm creating iceberg, and as I created peaks, you notice we still have some little bit shape of the iceberg below. It's not a pure peaks as we wanted, so they're stackable. Applied effect on. This is good options if you want to manipulate, manage between different them, maybe create some lunar and create peaks so you still have a little bit effect of this. Or if you don't want it, you always can reset and just apply one specific effect to your terrain. This is the fastest way to create it. You can also increase resolution of your terrain and we'll look on this in next, but just overall point, it's right here. So you can increase from 256 to 512 example, and when you created that time, you'll notice how resolution a little bit increasing. We have more details. So this way, if you want to increase resolution of your terrain, you can always do this by applying effects. So let's go next. We have it our mounts. Let me reduce resolution for faster render. We also have it canyons. Let's say set, road, reset. Right here we have a dunes. And if you need more dunes, you just need increase resolution. And if you apply dunes, you will notice you have more of them now. The iceberg and lunar surface. So let's reset and look some on the pictures. We can click and load a picture, which will kind of merge together with existing terrain. Currently we don't have it, so it doesn't show just black square. If, for example, we have it peaks, we'll go with groups. You notice right here, now we have the shape of the peaks. The next, we can go and preload it pictures. So currently I'm just going select neon one. One thing to know about terrain, the white is highest point, black is lowest point. So right here, white is high and black is low points on this. The one thing is kind of if we preview, you'll notice it's cut through. So the picture management, it's very standard to the view. And if you use it in one place, it will be very familiar. So we need it inverse, like right here. So we need to bring letters to the higher point of this. And the next, if you want it, you can rotate. You can rotate clockwise or counterclockwise. You have a type of the blending, so proportional blending, as well as mixed mode. By default, set blending. You can go to add, maximum, minimum, subtract, and multiply. Multiply is kind of interesting options because it will take it and kind of add to them. Right here, black is a 0, so 0 it will want to increase, but rest will kind of multiply based on the before. Okay, as well we can go and create a shape. Okay, let's click OK. So right here we created our terrain shape based on the shape. You'll notice some distortion on the side, and this is related to the resolution of the pictures. The higher resolution, the better. Of course, if using JPEG, you may receive some additional artifacts based from your JPEG image. I recommend to use the least TFF uncompressed or a PSD image for your terrain. As well, you can import a DM format for the terrain data and apply this way. Again, remember, your resolution will not just depend on resolution of image, it also will depend on the resolution of the terrain at that point. The one below this, we have options for our terrain. This is an option, consider of the random seed. If you remember this number or write down, you can always regenerate same type look terrain, which is showing profile right here. We also have a noise distribution and altitude distribution. This is two filters. We can double click to preload it exists, or we can right click, copy, reset, load, save the filters, or edit. The edit, it's a very standard filter and you saw before we using in other tutorials where you can double click or just click and create new points. You can readjust it. Let's disable our grid and magnet. You can switch this to the smooth curve. You can work with the tangents, points. You can enable your grid, magnets for the grid. You can zoom in and out and reset pan zoom. You always can zoom by using the keyboard. Press Ctrl button. This will allow you to zoom in and out. Or if you just right click, you can pan around. Let's go reset back. You'll notice the numbers it's changed depend on the terrain. The lower it's represent is altitude actually. So the right here, this is highest point in the terrain. The highest point is not necessarily center of the terrain. So actually right here, 1. And representing the overall high point. So for example, if I select and it says I want to create a plateau, or what I need to do, it's apply this way. And from now on, when I create it, I will have a plateau right here. So let's click OK on this filter. Actually, this is on the noise, so I want to do that on the altitude. So let me create plateau on altitude, as well as before in the filters, I just removed them on. You know what? Let's even make it lower. Okay. One thing, because this is generating, and when I press OK, it will erase, and this point won't be stackable, so it will erase my text. So let's go create it. You'll notice right here I created plateau through the filters. So if you want it, this is how create with iceberg something similar, so we can create otherwise. Okay, and if you want to create, for example, some volcanic stuff, you can click and bring it down right here. Let's click OK. You notice right here we're creating some, maybe for the volcano inside, plateau hole, so we can bring with water, or maybe a live volcano, whatever you're interested in. So right here, this is kind of bars. We also have it on the bottom. It is baked to higher field. This will speed up your rendering overall when you're done modifying your terrain, but till you're still working, I recommend you just don't bake it yet.